Hi friends, welcome to another Reddit Rev episode. Please subscribe and hit that like button if you're enjoying the content, and please share it with your friends if you can. I'd really appreciate it. Also, please leave me a comment to let me know what you think of the episode. Now let's get started with today's stories.
Hey Reddit Rev listeners, I've got a story, but instead of a relationship, for this one I have a story about a college professor and his revenge on cheating students. So enjoy. Title: I trapped my cheating students in an epic summer showdown. As a cancer researcher and a guest professor at a medical school, I teach imaging, which involves both acquiring medical images and processing them. Sometimes I feel like a programmer/IT specialist because coding is a personal activity, and with enough experience you can recognize who wrote what just by looking at the lines. As a guest professor, I'm in my first year in a country that's not my own, and I'm also in my late 20s. Some students perceive me as an inexperienced, gullible foreigner. As part of the grading for my module, the students are required to submit 2 reports on image processing. Each report weighs 10% of their final grade and involves coding. However, while grading the reports, I noticed that a small group of students had copied previous reports from the internet and only changed their name. While grading reports, I found many errors in the reports of the students in my module. To set a grading standard, I reviewed the reports of the previous years. Sadly, the reports that I received were poorly written and had numerous mistakes. I ended up giving them all a 0 and continued grading the remaining reports. While I was walking in the halls, some students asked me how their reports were, but I couldn't say anything until I released the grades. One student who had a high percentage of plagiarism asked me when I would release the grades and said he worked hard on his report. He mentioned his exam didn't go well and he hoped his report would be enough to pass. Submitting someone else's work as your own is morally incorrect, even if the submission process is online and personal. However, the individual's behavior was even more disingenuous when he lied to my face. Despite feeling angry, I remained composed and began to form a plan. I have finished regrading the exams and added the grades to an Excel sheet that also contains the report grades. Unfortunately, 4 students cheated on their reports, and as a result, I gave them a 0. Even if I were to give them half of the maximum grade, they would still fail the module. Typically, after the final exam, students leave campus or go on vacation while waiting for their grades to be posted. I wanted to ensure fairness, so I gave everyone a grade boost. However, this meant that some students with weaker reports were able to pass. I'd like to clarify that these individuals did not commit plagiarism and their reports were original. Additionally, I offered an opportunity for students to meet with me after grades are posted and before they are finalized. During these meetings, students can review their exam and reports and try to persuade me to give them additional points to improve their final grade. I anticipated that the students who cheated on their reports would reach out to me because they believed that they had already deceived me before. I patiently waited for their emails, and unsurprisingly, they contacted me on the same day that the grades were released. In their emails, they claimed to have put a lot of effort into their reports and expressed confusion about why they only received a 50% grade. They also requested an appointment. I was very happy to hear from them and agreed to review their grades. You might recall that my exam was the final one. However, by that time, most students had already left for their vacations and were quite far away. They requested an online meeting, but unfortunately, university policy prohibits this. Additionally, there is a 3-day window to schedule appointments, after which time the grades are locked in accordance with university policy. Therefore, the plagiarizers are cutting their vacation short and traveling by planes, buses, and trains to arrive on time for this meeting. I understand that some of you may assume that I show individuals the results of a plagiarism checker, inform them that their work does not belong to them, and then send them on their way. However, I have a better approach in mind. Typically, these appointments last for only 10 minutes. During this time, I present the work to the individual along with my notes on areas that require improvement or are correct. They may attempt to dispute my grading and negotiate for more points by spotting disparities in my feedback. However, I will not provide them with this opportunity. Mwahahaha. First, each person meets with me individually. I review their exams and reports, which they had copied. Unfortunately, they copied reports with many errors. During our meeting, I asked them several questions such as, "Why did you do this?" and "What was your reasoning?" However, they don't know the answers because it wasn't their original work. They give random and unclear responses. During the 3-day period, I spent several hours of each person correcting their mistakes by explaining why they were wrong and how to do it correctly. I repeated the same material from class, making it lengthy and tedious in hopes of making the meeting painful for each cheating student. The person always boasted about working hard on their work and had a smug look, assuming they could easily trick me because I'm a naive foreigner. However, as I reviewed their work and pointed out errors, I saw their expression shift. Their confidence in passing dwindled as they realized I knew they cheated, and I refused to award any extra points. While they attempted to end their appointment, I prevented them from doing so by stating that it was against university policy to not complete the review of their grades. I carried on with the review, which resulted in another hour or two of discomfort for them. It was a form of legal torture. It was glorious. In the end, all my cheating students left my meetings with a look of defeat and a failing grade. They realized that I had caught them in my trap and they had fallen for it. As a result, they had wasted their summer vacation, spent money on travel, and have nothing to show for it. Sadly for them, they'll have to retake the module next year with me. I hope you enjoy your summer. See you next year. Edit. I believe you may have mistaken the location. The event took place in the European Union, not in the United States. I reported the incident to my boss, who is a course director, but he advised me against filing a report due to the university's reluctance to engage in any legal action. As a result, I was unable to accuse them of cheating. I appreciate the negative comments, especially the ones that are written in a clever manner. However, some of the comments contain only insults, which is unnecessary. I do apologize for not being able to read some of the lengthy comments. Edit 2. In regards to the grades, I made a decision to raise the grades of some students who performed well on an exam, but were being weighed down by their report grades. Although their reports were not great, it was clear that they had a good understanding of the topics and had studied. I felt that if it weren't for the low report grades, they would have passed the course. Therefore, I raised their grades slightly in order to allow them to pass. For example, some of these students went from failing with a score of 49% to passing with a score of 50% on their final overall grade. I hope you all enjoyed this story, and if you did, please like and subscribe to Reddit Rev.
I hope you enjoyed our video. It's always a pleasure creating these stories, and if you liked what you saw, please take the time to show your support by giving it a thumbs up and subscribing if you haven't already done so. Sharing with your friends is also greatly appreciated. Let me know in the comments section below what you think of our videos. I'm all ears. Be sure to check back soon for more original Reddit stories every day on Reddit Rev. Until then, stay awesome, my friend.